Why do we create schedules in architecture? Because we need to count and calculate the total price of things. For example, how many doors do we have, or how many windows, or the surface of the plaster. So it depends on the project. And the second question is, why do we use BIM software other than the CAD software? So because it does everything automatically, so it counts the windows, how many windows do we have, and the types, it categorizes them in a schedule. So there's no human error. So we can rely on the data we have because it is on the model. So in order to get the proper data, you should model it properly. So now I will show you how to create schedules in ArchiCAD. So in the navigator, we have project map that we have everything: stories, section, elevation, workshop, details, and here the schedules. So basically, if you right click, you can create a new schedule and play with the settings. But in ArchiCAD, you have 3 subcategories for schedules: elements, components, and surfaces. So you can count elements like walls, doors, and objects, and components and surfaces, finishes. So these are default prepared by ArchiCAD team. So you can always go and check how did they do it. For example, let's open the door schedule. So let's go to beginning. So we have doors, element ID, quantity, opening name, 2D symbol, and 3D symbol, blah blah. So for example, let's click one. So now I select this door. I know that it is in the living room. So its element ID is the 001 and head height is 220. So if it is not blue, it means you can change it. So when I change the part, it will also update it in the model because it gets this information from the model. But if it is blue, you cannot change it. You cannot change the zone of the room in the schedule. So the same thing applies to model. If you change something in the model, it will be replaced here. So let's try. So when you select things, here you have 2 options: select on floor plan or select in 3D. Let's select in 3D. So ArchiCAD gets us to the proper location. Now we have our door. So head height is 220 with the sill height total. For example, let's make it 0 and 240. Let's go back to our schedule and it is automatically updated. So then how do we create schedules? First, let's look at how did they create this one. So this is element based. First, you add a criteria. So it's easy, you just say add criteria. So it's basically filters. So it says when you click add criteria, so there are many options. So for example, you can select and depend on layer or geometry or main. You can say element type is door, or ArchiCAD classification is in the branch of door. So if you model a custom door and put it on a correct classification, it also works. So it is much more better than element type, but you can rely on element type in your project. So the next thing is what we can change is fields. So you can add more fields or remove. So in this example, I will remove some unnecessary fields to make our door schedule more realistic, because it is default one created by Graphisoft. So, but before doing that, I will save as a backup by using export options. You can always save as XML and use it later. It will be helpful for that. You can use this same schedule list on your future projects, so you don't need to change and amend these things each time when you open ArchiCAD again and again. So let's start. So I will remove some of the options. So I don't need element ID, dynamic ID, library part name, so which I use as the opening name. We can keep it. Quantity, yes. Let's remove the from zone or zone. We don't need zone information. Width and height and orientation we can use later on. Nominal height, head height, and 2D plan preview. So I will also remove it, because you can, but if you want you can keep it depending on your project and office standards. So we have 3D back view. I also want to add 3D front view. So click add fields and search for front. So you will find 3D front view. Double click it. So now it's on our list, and move it to top. So let's also remove this information: fire resistance, thermal, sound, fire exit, and etc. So everything is ready. So click OK. So now it's showing the door 4 different types, but if you unclick the merge for items, you will see more options. So for example, now we have that options. So what I want to do is adding a dimension to this front view and back view. It is easy. Just click on the left side you will see a preview, add automatic dimension. Apply same thing to the back view, select any view, add automatic dimensioning. You can play with the scale here. So we are ready to go. I also want to remove the borders, so I will pick no border options. Same thing for also value part, maybe this section. So now it looks better and simple. So you can always add more detail to these previews by using annotate options. Click annotate. So as you can see on the document toolbox, you can use some of the 2D options, adding dimensions, text, or line or fill. Let's add one dimension. Hold down Ctrl and click. So it's not something meaningful, but we can use it later on with some more information. This is just an example. Go and click OK on the left top. As you can see, it is automatically updated. So we are ready to go. Just final architectural touches. So I want to align everything to right to make better. So don't forget the fit width, so that you can check before exporting. So how many doors you have. So As you can see, it is now much more realistic. Only thing remaining is exporting. To do that, so go to File, Save As, choose the file options. You can save as Excel and click Save, and let's preview what we have in our Excel. So as you can see, it is there. So now we have images, all the necessary informations ready for share. So this is our final edition. We use the same schedule, but with just a little click, now it looks much more realistic. Before moving on a new topic, so I want to change and import the first options. So go to the import. I will import my backup, the default schedule list. Open. Okay. As you can see, so you never lose information, and it's just one click. You don't need to click each time. It is that simple. So now it's time to create our own schedule. So go to Navigator, right click and create new schedule. So you should always give an ID. It will help you find it later on. So 001, if you have your own office standards, like let's say Z01, always follow your standards. So name it. So I am planning to create a new zone schedule. So I will list all the zones in all levels. So I will say zones and click OK. It is added to the list. So the first part is criteria. It is kind of filter. So first, let's look at what we have. Element type is all type. We don't need all types. We only gonna work with zones. So click here, the value part, and go to down and zone. So you can add as many as you want criteria. For example, if you want to list zones on the ground floor, you need to add one more criteria. Click here. So you will see some options: main, positions, IFC, model view. So I can't explain you all the options, but you day by day you will learn and familiarize with these options. So main is for element type. You can start with this one, but we already have one element, so I want to add position. For example, home story. So here, home story. Click add. Now we have a kind of formula. Element type is zone and home story is ground floor. So it won't show us zones in the first floor. So that is okay. So I hope you understand. So I will remove it for now because I don't want to see only the ground floor. So that is okay for me. So this part is fields. So it will basically add this kind of title, element ID, quantities, zone. So you will group what you filtered. So add fields. Let's shrink it down. As a result of our filter, so we only see zones here. So there are some options. You cannot add one more to this list. These are created by Graphisoft. So you need to pick. For example, I want to show calculated area and zone name and zone number. That is okay. What else I can show? The home story. There's the zones on the ground floor, first floor and the second floor. So click the general. Instead, you can search for it. For example, story. What else? I think that's enough. Let's click add for home story, and it is okay for now. So now we will learn how to play with this one. So this arrow for ascending and descending, but I will explain in detail. So this is for sum icon, and this is the group. This flag helps you to group things. For example, you can group your zones in by home story names. So first, let's create our schedule. Click OK, go to the list in the navigator and double click it. Okay, now it looks boring, but we will work on it. So we have calculated area, zone name, zone number, and home story. Let's shrink it down, shrink it up. So this part, you have text styles and some options. You can edit it. For example, zones, you can change the list name or color. Let's make it blue and maybe 2.5 to make it adjust with the side. So let's change the order of these columns. So I want to group them as a home story name, and I want the result of calculated area, so as a sum addition, but I want to move it to the top of the list because it is much important for me. So let's start with the zone name, zone number, and calculated area. So I don't need ascending or descending for zone number, so click again, click again. So zone name, again, I don't need. So home store name is okay, and calculated area, I want to see the bigger on the top, so I will make it ascending. So let's try what we have now. Click OK. Now we have zones grouped as a ground floor. Now we have total for the ground floor, living room, and as you can see, start from 55 to descending to 2 meters square. What else we can do? We have, I don't want to see ground floor, ground floor, ground floor again and again, so I may group them as a title, home story names. So this is the headline. So I will, when I click the show headline, this will add one headline, and we don't see this. So because of it is a zone list, you know that this is the zone name, zone number, and calculated. You may want to hide this part. So go to this icon, schedule header options, and hide column headers. So this is now much better. We have zones, ground floors, total, and first story and second story. So one more thing, click the total. As you can see, there are some format options for header, headline, value, total, and preview. So I want to make it bold, or I think that's okay. If you want, if you like painting Excel cells, you can add more colors and change stuff like we did on the title. So I think that will help. You can create, let's try to open, for example, finishes. You can create finishes for your painting, your wood surfaces, your glass areas. For example, we have blue glass, clear glass, and green glass, the exposed area. So you can give that information to your client or subcontractor to get the guess of the total cost. The final thing that I can teach you about schedules is, so you finish your schedule, it's ready, you need to share it with someone. You can always place it to your layout sheets, or you can export as Excel document or PDF to your client, subcontractor, or developer, whatever. So it is super easy. Just go to File, Save As, and you will see some options. So I already export as this list, for example, finishes. So we can say Excel file. So open file after save, yes. So you can see the colors, the titles, everything is here. So it is that simple. I hope that all helps. Thank you for watching.